Hey dear, Zunzi here, and I love me a good haunted house story with ghosts and creeping floorboards and characters wondering what's real and what's in their head. However, today I have two really unique haunted house stories that are genre bending and offer mind-blowing twists. They blew me away, and I'm really excited to talk about them. And I will give a warning and provide clear sections for when I will get into spoiler territory, because I do really want to talk about the explanation, the mystery of both houses. The first book is called The Grip of It, and it follows a couple who's looking to settle down and start a family with their first family home. So they find this cute Victorian home. It's a bit of a fixer-upper though. So as they're trying to repair it, they notice mildew, and the wife starts noticing that she's getting strange bruises, and she's smelling inexplicable, rancid, terrible smells in the house. And as she tries to investigate what's going on here, she realizes that the house has a dark history. What I loved most about this book was how trippy and vividly surreal it is. The characters don't know if they're hallucinating or not, and it is a ride. And I also loved how the characters' deteriorating mental state also kind of paralleled and mirrored with the couple's deteriorating marriage, because they're starting to argue and they're both kind of fraying at the edges and arguing with each other about what's going on. Before I get into spoiler territory, I do want to give one critique and point something out about this book that bothered me. And I'm not sure if this was intentionally supposed to be jarring and disorienting, but this book is told between the husband's and the wife's point of view. However, there's not a clear marker for the chapters whose point of view it is, and it kind of ruined my immersion, me trying to figure out, okay, whose head am I in now? All right, with that out of the way, I do want to get into the plot twist. So, spoiler territory, spoiler warning, leave now or forever hold your peace. Okay, I really like the explanation of this because it kind of moved into sci-fi territory, but the explanation for the wife's, especially her hallucinations, because she was out gardening more and she had a brain tumor or brain aneurysm that made her especially vulnerable. But the explanation was ergot, which is historically known for causing hallucinations. In the medieval ages, it was called St. Anthony's fire, because it causes this burning sensation and hallucinations and all kind of nasty symptoms. But I just thought that was a really cool plot twist to have a natural explanation for the character's hallucinations. So that was really cool. I love that plot twist. And of course, because ergot is a fungus, I love fungi. I just think they're neat. And I'm a science nerd, so there's that. Okay, next, moving on to a book that I avoided for the longest time because it was just really popular at the time, and I don't know whether I'm just too much of a book hipster. I'm oh, it's not niche enough for me, and if it's popular and mainstream, then it might not be weird enough for me. But I was wrong, and I'm happy to be proved wrong, and the book I'm talking about is Mexican Gothic. And the story is set in 1950s Mexico, and it centers around a character named Noemi, who is a wealthy socialite. However, one day she receives a distressed letter from her newlywed cousin, who's saying that she believes that her husband is secretly poisoning her to get her money. So she goes to the Mexican countryside where her cousin lives, and her husband is a part of this wealthy family named the Doyles, and they used to run this mining town. However, when she arrives there, everything's dilapidated and rotting, and there's mildew and mold on the walls, because like they can't afford upkeep anymore because they had to shut down the mine and all the workers died. So she's convinced Noemi that, okay, I think the husband is definitely like poisoning my cousin for her money because he wants to restore his family estates to their former glory. However, the more digging she does, the more she realizes that sinister forces may be at work here. And this book was just so darkly delicious, and you just get this like foreboding sense of dread and like something's amiss here, something's not quite right. And like the main character Noemi herself, she's starting to hallucinate as well. So it's one trippy book, and I actually rated it 5 stars. But now I do want to get into spoiler territory because this is what I'm really, really excited about. Okay, into the big secret. So the cause of all the hallucinations and the workers dying is fungi. So the Doyle family became host to this fungi that allows immortality, and it's able to colonize people. Some it can successfully colonize and grant them immortality, and it's also connected to what's called a mycelium network, where they're able to like talk through threads. So it's based off of real life science, and also I feel like there's a little bit of inspiration from cordyceps, which is the kind of mind control for insects, as well as there's one other fungi that infects cicada, and it makes them really horny and spread the fungi spores through that. It's real science. Yeah, I'm a nerd, and I actually found Mexican Gothic, refound and rediscovered that I wanted to read it by looking at lists of books that included like horror revolving around mushrooms, and I was like, no one told me there were fungi in this book. It is up my alley. So yeah. I was also happy to discover that the author Silvia Moreno-Garcia also edited a whole anthology about fungi, so my little fungi loving heart will be content. And I'm also thinking of maybe early October doing an entire big video of more books themed around fungi horror. So if you want freaky fungi, let me know if that's something you'd be interested in. And if there's any more like horror tropes or subjects that you want me to cover on this channel, like books related to that, and you have recommendations for books that fit that mold as well, feel free to let me know in the comments, because I like finding very oddly specific types of books. Like I'm also thinking of doing maybe like something revolving around books with taxidermy or dolls. So yeah, that's a possibility as well. Okay, that's all I have to say. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the flip side. See ya!